two back-to-back Cinderella musical adaptations. Is Hollywood and Broadway lacking originality, or can Billy Porter cast a spell and make this movie something worth talking about? It's S&J Talk Broadway, and let's talk about it.
Even magic has its limits.
This is it. Dresses by Ella.
Here's a laugh. This girl fancies herself a businessman.
Cinderella, it's only my love for your father, rest his soul, that stands between you and a life on the street.
I have to make a life for myself. I'll sell one of my signature dresses. Soon everyone will know my name.
Hi, I'm Justin, back again with my fabulous co-host Stephanie.
Hello, hello.
And we are here to talk about the new Amazon original musical movie, Cinderella. The movie stars Billy Porter, Idina Menzel, Nicholas Galinzine, James Corden, Pierce Brosnan, and Camila Cabello as the title role. And I don't think I need to tell our audience anything more about this movie because unless you've been living under a rock, it's another Cinderella story. We, however, just got back from our previous screening, and Stephanie, what did you think about this new Cinderella adaptation?
So it wasn't exactly what I expected. It's funny, it has a great cast, and it doesn't take itself seriously, but essentially, it's another jukebox musical. There are 2 original songs, and that's it. Everything else is a song from the radio, which I did find to be pretty disappointing. I was really optimistic for, some original, a whole original musical that we could compare against the Angela Weber Cinderella that was our last review. So don't worry, we're not just a Cinderella review show or channel, but that's what we've done the past 2 videos. But overall, I did find it to be cute. And I would recommend it for the watch, but I would probably recommend to stream it on Amazon and not pay for a ticket.
I get that. Speaking of another Cinderella review, I was just thinking as we were watching this movie, not to boil down on my thoughts, but just like as I was watching this, I was like, man, there are so many Cinderella adaptations.
So many.
And I think this movie is just a problem I have with it. It's a very, not only another by numbers movie, but another by number Cinderella movie. Yeah, but as soon as that other jukebox song that comes on, that Idina sings, Material Girl, I looked at you, I was just like, oh my god, it's a jukebox musical. Because that first one, I was just like, Rhythm Nation, have I heard that before? And I was like, maybe it's just generic, and I'm like, nope, it's a jukebox musical.
Absolutely, and it's not your typical jukebox musical. What I'm used to is like a whole play being centered around one artist, whether it be, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, or Mamma Mia. But no, this was like they just had the collection of radio. And you made a good point. You were talking about possibly they were all made by Sony, and that's how they have this collection because Sony made this movie. But it was just radio music that they pulled off, and if it fit the story, they put it in there.
True. But yeah, it's just like I was fighting myself to just like not really harp on just the bad stuff, but just like I could not find something that I really liked. Even the people I was looking forward to. We can go over this cast a little bit. Billy Porter, I felt like I was duped because I saw him in all the advertisement, and it's just like he was in there for 3 minutes.
I know. But that particular role doesn't have a big showing in any Cinderella story. The fairy godmother.
True.
But I agree. But that costume.
Yes.
His costume was fabulous.
That color palette and just his range were probably the best parts of the movie.
He had like a cape on that had the bump. Like how a dress that you're thinking from that time where the butt bump. His cape did that, or his jacket. It was very cool. I really liked his outfit.
We were talking earlier that if this movie were to be nominated for anything Oscar-related, it's got to win for costumes because those were some of the most fabulous pieces I think I've seen in a long time.
There's really nice costumes. I agree. Let's look at the other stars of the movie. What did you think of Idina's performance?
Idina was definitely a standout. I think you had said like she had one of the other 2 original songs in it. Mm-hmm. She, I will say when she did like a Wicked concert a couple of years ago, I was worried she had like lost her voice.
Really?
Yeah. It was like the 15th anniversary, all that. And this movie, she proved me wrong.
Okay.
I know she's done Frozen in between that, but it's just like I was just like, dang, like she was really just like hitting it up there. She is not really fighting for a place to stay. She doesn't need to fight. She just, did it like paperwork, It was just like easy.
Right. And I saw her like a couple of years ago, and she was as good as she's ever been. I saw her live performing like her own concert, not for a Broadway show, but I thought her pipes were wonderful then. So, and I mean, I thought she did something different with the character too, even beyond the singing. That role as the evil stepmother has always to me played as very one-dimensional, just being evil, and that's it. And while in the first act, I told you, I whispered over to you, I was like, I don't buy it. I don't think she's evil because she's Idina, And I think towards the end, they kind of like fleshed her out to be a full character. I did see a little glimpse of the evil in the middle of the movie, and by the end, you kind of understood why she was the way she was, which I don't know that I've ever gotten that from the evil stepmother in Cinderella. So I thought that was neat.
Fair enough.
And then Camila Cabello. What about her performance?
Star is Born. Honestly, she knocked it out of the park. That original song, you could definitely play that on the radio.
Absolutely.
Like, it was so good. But yeah, I was okay. So when we were watching the movie, I had said like I was comparing these with other Cinderellas. I think the one that I was really comparing it to was the Brandy '90s version.
Okay, makes sense.
The problem I have, I recently rewatched this during the pandemic. The problem I had with that version was just like the blandest part was Brandy, and this movie is like a total opposite on their head. And Cinderella is really the standout of this movie.
Yes, and I would see her in future movies. This was her first time to act, I believe, and she did great. So I agree.
Oh yeah. Who else we got in here? The Prince was kind of lackluster. He was kind of a one-dimensional character.
Yeah, who is he? Is he somebody that I should know?
I have no idea at all.
Okay.
Like, honestly, but he wasn't wowing me in this movie. Even the one song he started out with, I was just like, really? I think that was also like, anytime a song started, like, I've really changed my tune about jukebox musicals. Fun. But it's just like this one was tough to swallow. Like, I think the music, it was very by numbers. I feel like it's got a lot of hits in there, but it was just, I don't know, it was not wowing me.
And I find it to be like when I just mentioned it, when it's all about one artist. I find that to be clever, and they have to find this artist catalog and make it fit, in this play. Like, I'm really excited about Britney's Once Upon a One More Time for that very reason. But I think it's kind of lazy and easy when you have like the entire radio.
True.
So, we need a love song. Find me a love song on the radio. Oh, let's use that. That's kind of what it felt like throughout this movie, I thought.
True. So I feel like we need to talk about the elf in the room. Speaking of cast, we need to talk about James Corden.
I agree.
It was just so forced. Just like the fact that his physical face was on the screen more than Billy Porter kind of bugged me. And that was even a joke in the movie, too, was his head had to be on longer than the character he was playing.
Right, and that's true. That's true. And, I question endlessly why he's in this movie, but I did look it up, and he has a producing credit. So maybe
Makes
that
sense.
answers that question.
I also wanted to talk about, speaking of James Corden, the rats. So a lot of the CGI elements, like the dress, when Cinderella gets her dress put on, I thought that was fantastically done. When she's rolling away in
the carriage?
At midnight and everything's disappearing, I thought that was cool. But then the mice, every time they were on screen, I was like, man, that is just terrible. Like, did all the money go to those other two scenes? And it was just like, they looked like little clay things. Like, it just
I
was
had
like...
noticed that.
It was bugging me the entire movie, and I was just like, man... And it's for James Corden, like, it should have been... No, I'm joking.
Right.
Oh, man.
Now let's talk about James Corden for a second. Like, because the most recent thing that he's done, besides this, well, actually, this movie aside, is promote this movie, right?
Yeah.
And he promoted this movie on his own show, and they did this crosswalk musical type thing, and he's gotten so much heat for it, right? But that to me, like, I kind of knew it was, I didn't know it was going to be a jukebox musical, but I suspected it because the song that they did was Let's Get Loud, which is a Jennifer Lopez song, which to me has zero context in Cinderella.
I mean, it kind of duped me, though, because he's done other crosswalk musical, whatever, with other original music promoting another film. He'd done Greatest Showman a couple years ago in New York, and they had one song from the movie, but they had other they had other musical songs from other musicals. So it's just like, I don't know, when I saw that clip trending, it didn't even blindside me. Or didn't even come to me that I was like, oh, it's a jukebox musical.
Gotcha.
I was just like, oh, they're just doing something fun. James Corden is grinding cars in the middle of LA traffic.
In the clip, I don't know if you heard them singing, because you can hear him and Camilla singing. Didn't do either of them any justice.
Yeah.
Like, off of an iPhone while they're in the middle of a sidewalk. If I were Camila Cabello, I would never sing like that ever again after seeing that clip. Like,
True.
no. Because she sounded like a regular person.
Yeah.
And she's not. She's Camila Cabello.
I'm sure we'll get a 4K version of that by the end of the week, but
It's on its way.
yep. Anything else?
No, I think I'm good. I did want to I want to rate the movie though. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to develop a new rating system. We're going to start it with this movie. Maybe we'll continue it on to future movies. And that rating system is going to be a 1 to 10, James Corden thrust. So on a scale of 1 to 10, James Corden thrust, what do you rate this movie?
I'm going to give it a pretty poor rating. I was not impressed. So this movie, unfortunately, only gets 2 James Corden thrusts from me.
Where's my tail?
Okay, and for me, You know, it is a pretty the middle of the road movie. I would recommend it, but I would recommend not to pay for it. So I will give it 5 James Corden thrusts.
Pretty thrusty. But yeah.
Pretty thrusty.
Life outside this basement starts right now.
The world's half asleep. It's gonna wake up and sing.
But yeah, this was the review for the new Cinderella Amazon movie. You can watch it on the Amazon app, wherever Amazon is streamed, this Friday. And other than that, this is S&J Talk Broadway. I'm Justin.
I'm Stephanie.
And until next time.